They want us all to live in fear. I'm not living in fear.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Friday night's edition. If you guys are watching, first of all, we want to tell you thank you so much for watching us. This evening, we have our brother from down river, the former chief of police for the Trenton Police Department, Jim Nardone. Good evening, Jim.
Hello, Vanessa. Great to see you. We were talking about you the other night. I don't know if you
Oh, I
heard.
hope
You
it was
probably
good
didn't.
things. Um, and if you guys are watching, you notice, hey, we all have to have some fun, step away, take care of business or whatever. Adolph is not here tonight. He's good. He's doing fine. And Allan is not here tonight, but Jim and I can hold it down. So listen, this is what we want you to do because I know they didn't do this when I was gone. If you're watching Detroit in Black and White, you already know what we want you to do about the greatest show on these what? On these YouTube streets. We want you to like. That's right, Lady T. Subscribe and share. See, Lady T, she knows how to do this.
Well,
Like,
Adolf took your role, but he didn't look nearly as good as you looked. We'll just go with that.
like, subscribe, and share. Now, if you want to, you can participate in the comment section. We're gonna make sure we acknowledge you. As a matter of fact, hey Nene, that's Stephanie Jackson. Hey Jill, hey girl. I think Deborah Harris has already checked in. And if you want to come in, come in the room, you know what you can do. Just take your phone. Hey T Brown, what's up? Listen. I saw that your comment on social media about the houses, the houses that people were renting for 15 years, and they told they were going to be able to buy them, and they didn't. And you talked about that in the little houses. But anyway, I just want to let you know I
She
feel you.
doesn't miss our show. She's right. She doesn't miss the show like you do, Vanessa.
Right.
She's always here.
Dorian, Derek Henry. Hey. It was somebody else to say, hey, y'all. I'm going to say,
Dorian, Derek,
okay,
Les,
Dorian. Yeah, Les,
Les,
what's up, though? What
Les
up, though?
outsmarted me the other night, man. He had all the information. I thought he put me in he set me straight. I appreciate that, Les.
So, if you
I
want to
was
be
way out.
cool, T Brown, Dorian, and Dorian, we know you're not shy. We know you use your phone. Come on into the room. Use the QR code that's sitting up there in the corner of your screen. We don't know if you're watching on your laptop, if you're watching on your television, or if you're watching it on your phone. We are on Facebook, and like I said, we're on all social media platforms. But guess what? You could come on into the room. So listen, Jim. I'm thinking about Les. Uh, how are you? Hey, Kenneth, how are you faring? Faring? Are you faring well with this smoke that we have going on?
Am I? Well, I played 18. I was out for 5 hours yesterday playing golf because I like to play in the summertime. I played today too. But here's
Uh-huh.
the couple things. One, if you have some health challenge, if you have emphysema, if you have asthma, like one of our friends out here, I'm not going to say her name. If you have emphysema, if you have asthma, if you have, you should stay in the house. There's no doubt about it. But on the other hand, if you don't have health challenges, right? We're all talking about this. I can't say it. It ends in psoriasis, cyclomegalomania, psoriasis, whatever they call it.
What you talking
Uh,
about? The stuff with the
yeah,
food?
yeah. I made up a name for it.
Okay.
Sorry, but here's the deal, right? Nobody died from it. We know where it came from. Everybody, the people that sold the lettuce knew where it came from before we knew where it came from, and they started pulling their products off the shelves, right? But here's my other point. Don't let the government tell you how to live your life, please. We lived through this. We all suffered for a year or 2 years. I'm not going to attack the politicians over COVID, but let's face it. We lost part of our life during COVID, and maybe some of us shouldn't have, right? We did what they told us to do, um, and we tried to live our lives the best way we could, and we lost part of our lives. And that's why I encourage you. It's a mess out there. You walk out your door, it's you can smell it. It's terrible, right? But look, when I was 10 years old, I was with my brothers riding in the back of my dad's 1971 Pinto hatchback, red, and I got more smoke riding in the back of that 71 Pinto probably than I'm going to get from 100 wildfires. So I just think that the government is, they want to control our lives. It's a different deal.
Listen, so Wednesday, I wasn't on the show on Wednesday. I got back from doing what I do, and I realized that I had plans to go to the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. So I come in, I change clothes really quickly, and then I leave out. My one of my girlfriends, she picked me up, and we go down to the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. So we're eating, and I remember hearing earlier in that day, like early morning, about the forest fires in Canada. But I went on with my day. I kind of like put it in the back of my mind. So we're at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. We eat. We get there early, and so the show was going on, and I'm like, man, is it about to rain? Because I've forgotten. And so she says, yeah, I think so. So she must have forgotten too. And so as the evening went on, it became foggier and foggier. And then I began to smell the smoke, right? So I looked back, and man, it was so crowded. I said, well, we can't leave now. I mean, if we leave, I got to say, excuse me. So we left when the show was over. And driving down Jefferson, you couldn't see very far. And I will say the artist that was performing, she did say, hey, the smoke is really getting to my throat. There were some people on their boats. I thought that one of the people was going to run into the doggone stage. I don't know if he couldn't see, if he or she was drunk, or if it was the fog, or whatever the case may be. But I got up yesterday, had court, and let me say this, that night I could not sleep. I told Lady T, and by the way, all of you guys better give our girl, Lady T, the shout out. I've had a headache for the last couple of days, but life goes on. I could not very well tell the court yesterday, hey, I can't come because of the smoke. I went to court, and much to my surprise, I wasn't really surprised. My client, of course, had some issues. He could not come. But they closed the court down at about 1:00 yesterday, and we got an email that we would not have court today. So, I worked from home today, but I did go out. I will admit, I did go out. I had to go get my hair done because that I have to look fly. And I also went to the grocery store and forgot about the whole lettuce deal. So I bought lettuce, peaches, plums, cherries, avocados. I mean, I bought all my fruit and all my vegetables. So we'll see.
Comments?
Yeah, I guess you want to read them?
Well, I can read them.
Okay, cool.
Our friend Miss Sheila, what if you found out mold in your home and you go outside real life? Thank you, Miss Sheila. Yes, there's a lot of things out there that are dangerous to us. Lady T, foot on the neck of Davis, Stephanie Jackson. I'm glad somebody did. Seriously bad air and bad to see, Jill Sheridan. It's ugly, Jill. It really is. Marlon asked about a mask. Well, I played golf 2 days without a mask. I figure, like I said, if you missed that part, riding in the back of my dad's 71 Pinto, right? We all, how many of us that never smoked grew up in a family with a father or mother that smoked, and we carried that with us for years. Thank you, Deborah. Cyclopsoriasis. I know that. I was trying to be funny, but I guess it didn't land, but that's not unusual. Has anyone seen videos of the alleged forest fires in Canada? I have not, Les. I thought that I was in California Wednesday. I was out there when there were wildfires. Kenneth Reed, when the Santa Ana winds start rolling, it ain't cute. Nobody's saying it's great. It's a cyclopsoriasis, a microscopic bug that has been the culprit behind recent massive multi-state outbreaks. linked to Taco Bell is how you could answer that question. Mr. 40 Scratch, good to see you. I came from China. Just
1 second. What about Taco Bell? I don't eat at Taco Bell, but what's wrong with Taco Bell?
There's a link to Taco Bell. At least that's what the press is reporting, but they're never wrong.
Right.
Here's the thing. It hit too many places at one time, and you knew it was related to some type of fast food. It does. And investigators looking at it going, it didn't come from Applebee's because there's 30 Applebee's in these 5 states, but there's 200 Taco Bells and 200 McDonald's and 200 Wendy's. So you knew it was fast food. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it looks like it's linked to Taco Bell. Good evening, Edward All. Good to see you. Our friend Marlon, hello to you. Janet Overall, way ahead. Les agrees with me. He says it may be yet another control thing. It came from Mexico, Deborah. We have issues before with iceberg lettuce, right? Tamaya, yes, we've had lots of issues with jalapeno peppers, iceberg lettuce. A lot of these items, you start asking your question, who has all the lettuce? It's not McDonald's, right? McDonald's doesn't have a bunch of lettuce. It's places that are, I don't want to say these restaurants, but some of the Mexican chains. Yeah, Dorian knows I know exactly what you're talking about, Dorian. We live through so much smoke. We're surprised that it's bad, but if you're ever in a dark bar and you're playing music in that bar, you walked out for 3 days, you smell like smoke. So, a month, Zug Island, downriver where I live, when those smokestacks start going from the steel companies and the chemical companies, we're all lucky to live through it. Seriously.
Right.
It's a better time than it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. But it's not a good thing. I'm not going to say it's a good thing. And I caution anybody that has health challenges, please be careful. But do not let the government decide what you need to be doing with your life. They will if you let them.
So let me ask you this. You said don't let the government. Has the government say stay in the house? I haven't heard that. There's been a suggestion that you may want to stay inside, but I haven't heard them say you have to stay in the house. I haven't heard it. So if it's out there.
No, it's not like COVID. You're right. It's not at all like COVID.
I think it's been a suggestion, stay inside. But I mean, we have to acknowledge that. Listen, are you listening? Listen, these wildfires and this smoke, this fog, and us driving our cars up and down the freeway and down the streets is really not good in terms of the air quality. The air quality is terrible. So I think that you use caution. If you have to go out, go out. Like I had to go get my hair done, and I had to go to the grocery store.
But it's coming from Canada, that bastion of liberalness. That's they're the great liberal saviors of North America, and we could be all driving electric cars, but guess what? We would still have. We would still have these wildfires in our backyard. So anyway, I just had to get a comment about Canada.
Right. Doria said staycation. Deborah said Taco Bell gets their shredded lettuce from a company in Mexico that is the source of okay. Edward all said to all that don't, what did he say? To all that don't know, wash all your fruits and vegetables, no matter where you get them. Absolutely. There's somebody who says that Mayor Sheffield has acknowledged this emergency, but Governor Whitmer has not from his knowledge. That was less. And Stephanie, I agree with you. This is common sense. And T. Brown said this outbreak occurred after July 4th. So what you saying? What you saying, T? Les says it's like something that was sprayed in the air. And Dorian says that his father worked at Zug for 51 years. Wow. Okay.
And my dad worked at a place called Monsanto, and we all know they believed in clean air and clean water and clean land, right? I don't think there's a Monsanto anymore, but anyway, that's what we lived through, Monsanto. Thank you, Dorian. So a lot of people, a lot of folks out there live through Zug Island and foundries and United States Steel and McLeod Steel and Chrysler and Chrysler Chemical in Trenton. We had a Chrysler Chemical, so many families and so many lost their parents and fathers and mothers that worked in these plants. So thank you, Jill. Perhaps conservative climate change deniers will finally see what happens as a result of global warming. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
My only joke was about Canada protecting us. So
yeah, right.
it was just a joke, Jill. I'm not attacking Canada. I love Canada. You know where they're at from me. They're across the street here. Amherstburg's across the street. I have no beef with Canada.
So we talk about the air quality, but I think we should also look at the fact that, there's other things that we should be concerned about. The quality of water that we have. I was at a meeting last week, and did you guys know, maybe Jim, maybe you knew this, but each city has to do some testing in terms of the water, and it costs for them to do that. And there's one city in particular, I understand they did not do their testing of the water in that area. And the citizens that live in that city, it's very, very concerned. You have these factories, you have these big companies that's making a whole lot of money using our water sources, but they're also polluting our water sources. So, I mean, we should be concerned about the air quality, but you should also be concerned about the water that you drink. And, they have this whole campaign, Pure Michigan, we have the best water. And that very well may be, but I think that's where it depends on where you live. Because I know if I lived in that city and I knew that they did not test the water because of it costs money, they didn't have the money, I would just continue to take my chances and buying the water or, having a filter. Okay. Somebody asked me where. I don't know if I need to call the citizens out. I was at this meeting, but I will tell you, it's in Wayne County. It's a city that starts with an R, and actually it's a city that has two R's in the name of the city, and that's all I can tell you. You can figure it out. Okay.
Back to Jill for just a second, if we could,
Okay.
if you guys don't mind. Jill, we all know how it was in the 70s living in this area, right? I'm a mile and a half from the Detroit River. There's people here in Trenton that swim across the river. In the 1970s, you couldn't get near the river, right? So the environmentalists, and mostly coming from the left side of the aisle, have made our country a better place when it comes to environmentalism. So, and we could get into Alaska and the Arctic National Wildlife and the danger that the right poses to the land up there. But I don't think that's a show for today. But I agree. I agree with you, Jill. Protect your home and family. Test your own water. And filter your own water if you can. Edward Alt, Stephanie Jackson, the Rouge, Canada's getting some get back. Marlin. I don't know how you stop a wildfire. You really don't.
What do you mean by that? Canada's getting some get back. What Marlon talking about? Is he talking about? Is the inference that because of the bridge and how the bridge is not open, so Marlon, what you talking about? Come on in the room or come put it in the comment section, because I want to know exactly what you're talking about. Because if you're talking about the bridge and how the bridge was shut down and how Canada paid for it, listen, this is my opinion, and this opinion belongs to me. But I've been a student, and I call myself trying to stay informed. So here's the deal. You had this whole campaign with people who did not want this bridge to be built or open, right? You had Matty Maroon, his family owns the Ambassador Bridge. They certainly didn't want it, right? You had a city in Wayne County that says, don't bring it here, okay? And their income is definitely far more than the income of people that live in Southwest Detroit. Most of the citizens in Southwest Detroit said, we don't want it. I need people to understand this. The only way that went down is because of your elected officials, and it doesn't matter which side of the aisle, they had to cooperate. This had to be a cooperation of the group. You should be pissed off at them. You should be mad at Matty Maroon because he's a businessman. And he says, hey, I want all the business and this is what I'm going to do. But there was something else that was going on behind the scenes with that. But why is it that you guys have not, and I'm not saying all of you, but you haven't held your elected officials? And notice I said officials. I didn't say Democrat. I didn't say Republican. I mean, every last one of them. People need to understand that a lot of this stuff that goes on, you can blame your representative that may happen to be a Democrat or Republican, but a lot of this stuff, they are complicit and they work in concert with one another. What do you say, Jim?
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Should we take a break and get back to our friends?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Midterm elections influence our schools, public safety, housing, and other services families rely on every day, including gas prices. While presidential elections get more attention, many decisions that affect daily life are made by leaders elected in the midterms. Voting helps ensure community concerns are heard. It holds leaders accountable and supports positive change. Make a plan to vote. Our community is strongest when every voice is heard. For more information, call or visit us online.
Okay, we're back. Detroit Black and White, our Friday evenings edition. First of all, we're going to say, second of all, we're going to say thank you to everybody that is participating. Janet, Eric Brown, he says they never will and are a part of the problem. I think he's talking about the elected officials, about how people never hold the elected folk accountable. Say that again. Les says Trump reportedly will be here for the opening of the Howell Bridge.
They might throw him in if he doesn't open it soon. That's a long drop.
And Janet said you have a new painting behind you. Who's the artist? And Deborah says not DTE Story. Oh, Janet, this is not new. This has been here, but you're going to see a new one next week. I am a collector. I do collect art. So thank you. I can't remember who this is. I have a couple of artists, well-known artists from Detroit, Metro Detroit area. I think this is oh gosh. Her name will come to me in 1 second. Just give me a second. I just had but thank you for the compliment. Deborah Hare says not a DTE, not DTE, sorry. Listen, that's another one. DTE. You people, we just had a commercial about how, you need to cast your vote. Local elections are important. I've talked about this before and no one has really seemed to address this, but do you know that your governor, I don't care who it is, they get to a point who's going to sit on that commission and these people are the ones who set the tone, and I'm talking about the prices of what DTE can charge us. Now, I understand people are really, really ticked off because their power was on, it went off, came back on for a few hours, went off. They have to throw their food away. They have to do all these things. And here's again, these people, you elect somebody in office, you put somebody in office, they're able to make these appointments. Hold these people accountable. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Every year, every summer, we have storms come through, the trees fall, and people are out of power, and all we hear is, well, we need money so that we could cut back the tree. Well, you should have did it last year or a year before last or the year before that. What's the deal? What's the real deal? Go ahead, Jim.
I'm glad Karen Winston's here. Thank you, Karen, for being a part of the show. And the show doesn't ever get going until Karen shows. And
Right.
Marlon says, Canada, trade Trump. Are you suggesting we should trade the president to Canada for a couple of pair of Bauer hockey skates and maybe some hockey sticks? Or are you talking about something else there? Deborah says Detroit water and sewerage.
Oh, it's a hot story about Detroit water and sewage today. I was talking to T. Brown a little bit. So I was on social media earlier today. Apparently went out to cut the water off at one residence. And let me make sure I got the story right because it's on my phone. There's a house across the street. And the water is so high, the entire basement, from the floor of the basement all the way to the floor, the first floor of this abandoned house. Nobody lives there or anything. As a matter of fact, somebody was out there last week talking about, they said that they were trying to remove asbestos, and the house is on the list to be demoed. The people said, you got the wrong house. The bottom line is there's running water in an abandoned house. My thing is that this is not a new story. 10 years ago, I remember I went over to a neighborhood where these guys was operating their own car wash. Really, really cool guys in the hood, but guess where they was using the water from? The house that was abandoned next door. That was their water source to conduct their business, their car wash.
Bad idea.
That is crazy. That is crazy. But yet you're turning off water in homes of people where people live, but you still have water running in abandoned homes. Make that make sense. Make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Governor Whitmer is suspiciously quiet, Les says, and John James may surprise us all. He'll surprise me if he gets elected to the governorship. I think it's a numbers game, Les, and I think he doesn't have the numbers. But you know what? Surprise me. It happens in elections all the time. Put tariffs on the smoke, Mr. President. That'll stop it. Cute, Jan.
So you're saying that it doesn't make sense. And again, you have somebody that's over the Detroit Water and Sewage Department. Why is it that 10 years, I know of a home, I could tell you the street, I could tell you where the house is, where there was running water, and these guys have been running their business for a couple of years, a car wash business. Why is that okay?
It's not okay. I'm not a socialist.
But who's going to pay for it?
We should be able to get water, and we should be able to get heat to people in our communities. I won't signify a certain community. It should be all of them. If we can't get heat to people and water, then shame on us. I'll go that far, right? There's no way that we shouldn't be able to do that. We have the resources. We've talked about that in the last week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the fires will stop when the bridge opens, Dorian said. What about the pipeline, Jill Sheridan? I'll just say this. There is a ticking time bomb right up there between Mackinac City and whatever in the UP there, wherever that pipeline crosses to. And if they don't do something now, it's going to be like everything else. However many billions of dollars it's going to cost to protect our residents, we need to do it, and they need to do something in short order. That's my position. Vanessa?
Now, Les says that I agree with you, and I don't agree with everything you say, but I agree with you.
No.
Les made an interesting comment. He said Governor Whitmer is suspiciously quiet, and then he talks about John James. Well, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Is she suspiciously quiet? Because listen, what I read when I was out is that people are mad as I don't know what at her because she vetoed all of these bills, and these people are mad as I don't know what. So she
They didn't read
filed.
about it because
Okay.
why she did it is because they were too late to be, because they'd sat around for 2 years. They need to be redone or re-voted on or whatever the case is. I think
Well,
probably.
it's not gonna happen. But they mad. I mean, they are putting it all over social media. Every news article that I read while I was gone, they talked about it. I was like, oh, that's too bad. So my question is she suspiciously quiet because of that? I mean, she's on her
She's
way.
running for president. She doesn't want to screw up. It's hard to screw up if you don't say, when she talks, she screws up. So
You
she's
really
running
believe
for
she's gonna run for president?
I absolutely do, and I think we'll see what happens.
Okay.
She's no worse than some of the other folks on the Democratic
I'm
side.
not
I mean,
gonna say she worse or better. I'm just asking.
that's what I said. I said she's
Right.
no. That's exactly what I said.
Right. Wow. Okay.
I think she has as good a chance as anybody. I'll just say that. As anybody that I see in the race right now, I think that Governor Whitmer, if she listens to the right people, she has a good chance. If she listens to the wrong people, we'll see what happens.
Right.
She's not the smartest politician we've ever had in Michigan. I will say that. So.
Okay, so Karen asked, as well as Kenneth, they're talking about the Michael Cox, who decided that he was going to drop out the race. And I think he made it clear. He said, listen, the president of the United States has decided that he's going to support John James. I did a poll. Basically, there's no way I'm going to win the primary, so I'm going to bow out and I'm going to support whoever the nominee is. So, I mean, that was that. I don't know if he's had a chance. Somebody, Marlon, hey, Marlon, he said, what's happening with your run for probate? I'm running.
I'm running hard. And, Stephanie has a point that I want to touch on a little bit later. I've got 3 pages.
Hold on 1 second, though. Let me answer his question. Marlon, it's 3 open seats. There were 5 people who filed petitions to be in a race, which means we don't have a primary. We go straight to November. As of the beginning of June, there was a couple of disqualifications, but we still don't know what the ballot is going to look like in September. We only know that Vanessa Moss' name is on the ballot.
And only 2 other judges are in their 3 seats, Marlon. So we think that Vanessa's going to win.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I got excited by Stephanie's comment, but
what did Stephanie say? Go ahead and address it.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with everything Stephanie said. What about the others, non-Native Americans taking over government? We've been infiltrated by the enemy. I want to read some other comments and want to come back to this. I'd rather have a racist than a terrorist. That's the difference between, I guess, lung cancer and pancreatic cancer there. DTE running 2 size generators behind my house to supply power to Northwest Detroit. Mr. Duckett, good to see you tonight.
Oh, wow.
The smoke and diesel fumes are terrible. That's exactly where I was going, Mr. Duckett. If you missed the beginning of the show, I don't want to be those anti-government guys, but sometimes I guess I am. Sometimes I don't trust the government. Well, I worked for the government for 28 years. But COVID taught us all a lesson that you can go to Lowe's to buy seeds and fertilizer, but you can't buy whatever.
What's interesting about Mr. Duckett's comment is that here again, I guess that was the point that I was trying to make earlier. So we have wildfires, right? Natural thing. I don't know. Somebody said it. I don't know what the deal is, but you have wildfires. But now you have this company, DTE, that is contributing to the air pollution, the noise pollution, the disturbance, the quiet peace of someone enjoying their home because they decided that they're going to put this generator in his neighborhood and you got smoking diesel. I mean, that's a problem. They talked about Marathon Oil years ago, and I don't know what they're doing now. But what about DTE? What about them? Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Kenneth, the Tigers are on the West Coast, I believe, because the game's like at 10 o'clock tonight or something out, and they're playing the Angels. It was an adventure going to visit friends in the real Southwest Detroit, 217 zip code. The environment is becoming toxic soup again. Les, former AG out of the, you talked just briefly on that, and I'll give you a little opinion on that. I think Mike Cox got tired of spending his own money in a losing proposition. The money he took from he was on the show, and he's a very bright guy, but some of that money came from us, right, against the University of Michigan. Are the locusts coming next? I want to go back to Stephanie's point, and this may take a second, Vanessa, so hear me out on this, all right?
We're listening. Are y'all listening? Listen. Go ahead, Jim.
I don't tell people who to vote for. You vote for whoever you feel is your best candidate, but I was reading an article today, and it looks like it's accurate. And the reason I think it's accurate is because I know just a very little about automatic luxury timepieces, Swiss timepieces, German timepieces. And we have a guy running for the United States Senate who rails against the wealthy. He said that his perverse psychological consequences of Rolex advertising on Detroit billboards along a Michigan freeway in his 2020 book. Of course, we're talking about Abdul El-Sayed. How many people can afford one of those? I can tell you who can afford a Rolex, Abdul El-Sayed, because Abdul El-Sayed has, he calls himself in an interview with LGBT Detroit, described himself as a sucker for automatic watches. He has a Sin U1 SE German. He's been filmed with this or on a podcast. Automatic watch, $4,000. He was seen in June at an interview wearing an Omega or Omega, whatever people want to call it. Seamaster DeVille vintage, about $3,000. June, he was wearing another Omega Speedmaster, about $10,000. I guess picking up ice cream. In Grand Haven, he was wearing a 3,000 1950s Elgin doctor's watches. When his campaign worth about $2,000 or $3,000, they asked him about it, and he said, well, he wore the Elgin because it's a doctor's watch. Well, of course, people are kind of beating up on him because he's not a real doctor, but I'm not suggesting that. Here we go. Finally, which is really interesting. He had accusations of wearing a Rolex Submariner. And they fought back and said he doesn't own a Rolex. It's not a Rolex. I'll tell you what it is. It's a Tudor Black Bay. And if for those of you that don't know anything about timepieces, Tudor is owned by Rolex. It's only $5,375. And Tudor is a division of Rolex. So I added up the luxury watches that he has, and they're about $27,000 worth of luxury watches that we're aware of. All right. So this is a guy that looked at a sign and said, who can afford one of them? He can afford one of them. I'll tell you who else can afford a lot of these luxury timepieces. A lot of them. Your everyday American that worked their ass off to put money in the bank, to save money, to buy a luxury timepiece. All right. So what irks me about that is he's basically coming out against people that have money while he's out there wearing whatever, about $30,000 worth of watches. He has 680. His earnings, his last $686,000 he and his wife made last year. So I have a hard time talking about socialism for me. And you, but not for him. So he obviously doesn't believe in socialism for himself. Another point I wanted to make, if I can find it. So we have a political, I'll just call him a political pollster that was on a show last week. I'm not going to mention his name. I know him. I've met him. He's been on this show before. And they were talking about the money. how AIPAC is paying all this money to help Haley Stevens. Absolutely bad deal. And he made a point that he talked about. I'm not going to mention his name yet. You can figure it out, most of you. He said there's money on both sides that shouldn't be in the campaign. All right. This person said there's an equitability of the cash. And they asked him why he wouldn't name where Abdul El-Sayed's money was coming from. And he said, number one, I do enjoy walking down the street by myself without having to worry. So we have an individual out there that's been in politics for many years that is afraid to tell the public where El-Sayed's money's coming from because he's in fear for his safety. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Come and get me, El-Sayed. Tell me where your fucking money's coming from. Because if you're a scammer and you're a crook and your money's coming from where we think it's coming from, where this guy thinks it's coming from, the people need to know about it. They know the money's coming from AIPAC, which is bad money. I get it, all right? But where's his money coming from? We need to know this, and he needs to tell us. You can vote for whoever you want, but I want to know where her money's coming from, and I want to know where his money's coming from. Because the implications are pretty serious that his money is coming from groups of people that the Americans typically, most Americans think are bad people. Mm-hmm. So vote for him if you want to vote for him. Vote for Haley Stevens if you want to vote for her. I don't care who you vote for, but they need to tell us who's running their campaigns, who's running their money, where it's coming from, and what they're going to do.
Let me say this. It's July, it's the middle of July, right? People have already mailed in their absentee ballots. You had Mallory McMorrow bow out the race, right? And then you had Haley Stevens, her numbers by polls, her numbers has gone up in terms of, who is likely to vote for her, whereas his edge is slipping. The point that I'm making is, in this midnight hour, they're not going to say anything. They're going to keep running. I think they're going to keep running the commercials that they're running on television, on the radio, on Sirius. They're not. You're probably the only one. There's a few of us that ask for these people to be transparent, but most voters don't. They allow the television to tell them, the radio to tell them who to vote for, period. And then let me say this, I'm going to add this to it. Those people that are seasoned, right, have been conditioned as to who they're going to vote for. Okay. And what I mean by that is, grandmama, granddad, this is who you vote for. Oh, well, this is what my family did. My mama and daddy voted this way and blah, blah. So I'm going to vote for them. Nobody is going to do like that research that you did on Homeboy's timepieces. I was educated today because I didn't know anything about this being associated with Rolex and yada, 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 scoop up the Scooby-Doo. Nobody's going to do that. I'm going
to tell you this, Vanessa, as you know, I search campaign finance reports on a regular basis, Jill. They have not been turned in for this time period yet. If I could get to them, Jill, I will be telling you there's a reason that, as Vanessa knows, she has not had to report her finances yet, right?
Right.
We know that we're waiting on that paperwork. And we've got a guy on a podcast saying, I'm afraid to tell you where his money's coming from. That's bullshit. That's cowardice. I'll tell you as soon as I find out. I'll post it wherever you want me to post it. I'll stand in the middle of 4th Street and tell you where's money. I'm not afraid of this guy. I'm not afraid of anybody. Come and get me. I'm not going to hide from Abdul El-Sayed. I'm not going to hide from anybody. I'm not going to hide from President Trump. I'm not afraid of these people. And yes, Jill, it's kind of important when a guy says that I have too much money, but he's out there wearing $30,000 worth of watches. Don't tell me how I need to live my life when you're out there living like a capitalist, because I'm a capitalist. If you got $30,000 worth of watches and you're telling me you want to take my money to pay your bills, no, kiss my fucking ass.
Okay.
I'm talking about Abdul El-Sayed, and I'm right here whenever he wants to come talk to me. I'm not hiding from him.
He's been on the show. Listen.
Come on, I ain't hiding from you. Bullshit. You're wearing watches showing people who the hell you are. Every day you're out there showing people who you are. Just like Bernie Sanders, the millionaire who's telling you how you need to live in a communist or socialist country. If that's not the point, Jill, I don't know what is the point. Those people want to run your life every day of every hour of every day and tell you how to live. Buy into it if you want. I ain't buying it. He's a fucking fraud.
Oh, okay. Well, Jim said it. It's 9:15. We need to take a break. When we're coming back, this show is hot, hot, hot. It's smoking hot. Detroit Black and White, our Friday evenings edition.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Midterm elections influence our schools, public safety, housing, and other services families rely on every day, and that includes gas prices. While presidential elections get more attention, many decisions that affect daily life are made by leaders elected in the midterms. Your vote is your voice. Voting helps ensure community concerns are heard. It holds leaders accountable and supports positive change. Make a plan to vote and encourage family, friends, and neighbors to do the same. Our community is strongest when every voice is heard. For more information on how and when to vote, call 313-876-0190 or go to detroitmi.gov/elections. When we vote, we don't just choose leaders, we choose the future of our community. Vote.
All right, we're back at Detroit in Black and White, our Friday evenings edition. I think that commercial is very interesting. Thanks for doing the commercial here on Detroit Black and White. But I think that the charge should not just be vote. It should be vote. Make an educated vote. Make an educated vote. When you are in that booth or when you're sitting at your table, be it the kitchen table, your dining room table, or your office with your absentee ballot, do your research. And your research is not calling Vanessa. Well, Vanessa, who you vote for? I do get those calls. I'm sure you get them, Jim. I will tell people, look, this is what I think, but I encourage you to do this. Because the reality is this. Our parents really raised us to be independent thinkers. We only become a herd when it comes to things like that. And this, again, is my opinion only. I want to go to some of these comments, Jim, if you don't mind. Jill Sheridan said campaigns, the financials, look into it. T. Brown said call them out. Mr. Duncan says, tell us who gave him the money. Don't insinuate something. Less more says politicians are rarely transparent. Karen Winston says she was told by an executive of the Kilpatrick administration it's all about perception. I was urged to report false information about the number of successful repairs. So what if it's a big lie? I can't agree with her more. It is always about perception. And I'm only going to give you a piece of the story. I'm not even going to give you half of the story. I'm just going to give you a little snippet of what I think you want to hear. That's my opinion. Dorian says Democratic Socialists aren't anti-capitalist. And we're all, he says, Jim, stop holding back. Tell us how you really feel. I got my absentee ballot and I'm doing my research. All right, Ed. Marlon Holt says class action lawsuit against DTE for the groceries. Dorian Denard says the freeway is socialism. So is flushing your toilet. Miss Sheila says only people vote, nothing else. Real life. Jill Sheridan says he was in a public health position. His salary is probably well known. Yeah, his salary is well known, but I mean, people get money from other things. I mean, you know, and he does have a spouse. So,
let's go
and
back.
I don't know if those, you know, we don't know if those timepieces were gifts.
We don't.
We don't know any of that. Okay.
But this is a guy that says perverse psychological consequences in his book for people that were driving down the freeway that saw a Rolex watch on a billboard. He called that perverse psychological consequences, as he's wearing a $10,000 Omega wristwatch. If you all don't think that's hypocritical, that's fine with me. I do. All right. You know who wears Rolex watches? Middle class people, not rich people, not poor people. The middle class owns Rolex, and people don't understand that. There's way more expensive timepieces in this world than Rolex. They're the poor people's fancy watch.
Right. Absolutely. And I will say this, I don't own a Rolex. I don't even wear timepieces anymore. I use my phone for time. But anyway.
Don't tell us how bad it is and then own it.
So you're pissed off with the hypocrisy of it all, and the fact that not just the hypocrisy, but the lack of transparency.
Absolutely. I'm not defending Haley Stevens, Parr. I'm not telling you who to vote for. She's got plenty of everything you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with one word you're saying. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not telling you who to vote for. She's made her own mistakes, and if she hadn't, she wouldn't be in this situation right now.
Yep. DTE is a monopoly, which is way worse than socialism. Jill says, is he telling you he wants to take your money? Come on. Karen Winston says, yes, Jim! Exclamation point. I love a man with emotions and passion. Dorian Denard says, the gas station owners, ? Everyone hates them. Laugh out loud. Kenneth Reed, what's up? He said, we who don't do it should research the candidates and see where the money is coming from, even though the dark money is really dark. Janet, overall, Jim, and she sent you the love emoji. T. Brown says, yep, it's control. Mr. Duckett says, I'm sure Haley Stevens is doing opposition research to get you the name of some scary Muslim organizations you want to hear.
That's not it. That's not it at all. But sure, if that's what you want to believe, that's fine. Right. Has nothing to do with him being a Muslim. Has him to do with being a fraud. Has him to do with claiming he's a physician and never practiced medicine a day in his life. He can do whatever he wants. You can believe whatever you want. You're entitled to it.
So he can say that he's a doctor. That doesn't mean that he has to practice. That's just like a somebody that has a law license who doesn't practice law. That doesn't mean that they're not a lawyer.
But he bought a $2,000-$3,000 1950s watch because that's what doctors do. That's what he said it.
He bought it.
He said it. His campaign said he bought it because that's what doctors
buy. Is that campaign true for? You said it's not.
Well, it's his campaign. It's not my campaign. It's an Elgin. It's a doctor's watch, a vintage 1950s Elgin watch that doctors kind of fancy. And he said he bought it because instead of saying he wanted to watch, they said, well, that's what doctors do.
Right.
He's entitled to do what he wants. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you whether you should love him or hate him. I'm just telling you he's a hypocrite or he's a whatever. Maybe he needs to do some more line dancing or whatever the hell he's doing. Maybe you buy into the line dance. Maybe you buy into the Blues Clues ad. If you look up the Blues Clues ad where he tries to treat people like they're 8 years old, that's fine. He can do that. Maybe it'll get him elected. Good for him. But I'm not even talking about his politics. I'm talking about what he's saying and what he's doing. They love his politics, right?
Right.
It's not about politics.
Right.
It's about being transparent and being honest with people. Right. You want money, you have a lot of money, and all you're doing is acquiring more money. And you're telling us how you think we should live. Medicare for all. Who pays for that? Jill? Who pays for that? Tamaya? Who pays for that? Miss Sheila? We pay for it.
You know what's interesting, Jim, is that when you talk about money, and we have people who have a lot of money, they want the power. The money, they know they can get the money, to have the money. They want the power. And again, this is my opinion. And what they do is they tell you, hey, I'm for you, but really it's all about the power. That power is like an addiction. It's just super crazy to me because once, how many people, listen, I get sick of voting for people stay in office 5 million years and you get the same old thing. I'm sick of it. And they give you the same old speech or they give you an excuse as to why they didn't do such and such that they said that they was going to do 10 years ago. Why isn't it done now? Oh, well, because this, that, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, eight, nine, 10. Sick of it. But we can't be mad at them if we are not holding them accountable. You continue to put them in office.
You started this discussion today on that, Vanessa.
Right.
And then we rolled right around to it. And it's whether it's Haley Stevens, whether it's Alyssa Slotkin, whether it's Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers is out there telling everybody about his experience in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. How many years he worked at the FBI? Less than 5. You know what we call that in policing? A rookie.
Right.
So you're talking about being an FBI agent. You're basically a rookie FBI agent. You quit and went somewhere else and did something else. Now you're living off being an FBI agent. So this isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's about people being dishonest.
But what they do is they read their audience and say, hey, can I get away with telling people this? Will people buy it? And people buy hook, line, and sinker. I do think that it's interesting, though. Eric made a point that he's not voting for Abdul. He's not voting. I don't think he's voting for anybody but Mickey Mouse, because he said he's not a fan of Abdul. He's not a friend of Stevens, and there's no way he in hell, as a Black personality, that he would be voting for Benson. So I don't know what that means other than what he said. Stephanie Jackson said, did I do that?
No, Stephanie, I did it. It's not your fault. And I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'm not opposed to anybody having a automatic watch collection, having Swiss watches. I'm not opposed to it. But if that's not the issue here. The issue here is talking about how bad it is for everybody else and going out and buying yourself all these watches. We do know that his father-in-law donated $300,000 to the campaign. So we do know where $300,000 of it came from, a kidney doctor. That's his father-in-law, he can do that. He can do that. He has every right to do that. That's family money. Good for them. I have no problem with that.
Let me say this. When I say do your research, listen, you're looking for to me, you should be looking for someone who aligns with your belief. That does not mean that they believe everything that you believe. That does not mean it means to me that somebody that's transparent, that walk the walk, that has walked the walk, you can see it, not just their professional life. I'm just using this as an example. I worked in Wayne County. I was the head of such and such, and we gave out free glasses. Not that. I want to know what you did before that and what you're doing. What are you doing? What have you done in the community in which you want to be elected to serve? Service should not start at the time that you decide to throw your hat in the ring. Service should be a calling. That's something that you've had all your life.
He deserves credit. Yeah, he deserves credit for the glasses. Don't take that away from him. I wouldn't think about taking that away from him. He deserves credit for getting glasses for young people. I would never take that away from him.
As an example.
Yeah, Jim. But I'm just saying that's something he's touting, and I'm not taking that away from him. I'm
not taking it away from him.
He came on the show. He was very good when he came on the show. He was very convincing.
Oh, I wasn't here that day, so I don't know.
I watched from the background. He was very convincing. I thought he was a good candidate. I didn't say he was a bad candidate. I just said he was a freaking hypocrite. And I think that if you look at the evidence and you don't agree with me, that's fine with you. Mr. Duckett, I know a little bit about these watches before. I didn't know about the German timepieces that he had, but I knew a little bit about some of these Swiss timepieces. I'm familiar with Tudor and Rolex and a couple others. So I didn't have to do a lot of research on that.
Right. Dorian Denar says, maybe certain people should sit this one out. I don't know. Paul Orrick said, Jim, that's great that you've called out El Sayed, but what about Haley with all of the black backdoor deals with the black vote brokers, etc.?
I'm not defending Haley Stevens. As I said earlier, Haley Stevens has made way too many mistakes in her time in Congress. Keep in mind, they supported Haley Stevens over Andy Levin, who was, a well-known. His uncle was the U.S. senator, and Levins are all over. So this is not about defending anybody else. She has her own problems. I don't think she's a very effective legislator. I'm not going to argue with them. Yeah, not at all.
So G Money Hollywood says, how can you make a real educated vote when half of the findings you come across online about the candidate is pseudo? Due diligence is even a lie. The people never win, regardless who is in the office.
That's the point.
Exactly. That is the
Money
point.
hit it right on. And Mr. 1213, absolutely not. One of my best friends is a doctor of education, and I call him doctor every time I see him. But he doesn't take credit for being a medical doctor either. He takes credit for being a PhD in education. He doesn't pretend to be a gynecologist.
Well, Stephanie Jackson says if he can't give us the hookup on the grocery stores and gas station, send his behind, if she don't say behind, back to his day job. Lord Jesus, have mercy. Jill Sheridan said, exactly, Vanessa. Miss Sheila, hey, girl, hey. She said, chat 31 in chat if y'all want to share. Mr. 1213, Dr. Martin Luther King wasn't a physician. Let's see who else go. Janet. Overall, hey Janet, I missed you. I missed all of you guys. She said we do. Oh gosh, I'm trying to get to all.
Back, really quickly, his campaign should not be saying that he bought the watch because doctors buy the watch, because I don't think PhDs buy the watch. He's referring to medical doctors when his campaign said he bought the Elgin. It's what doctors buy. I don't think they were talking about a psychologist or a psychologist or a math doctor of trigonometry at Harvard. They were talking about medical doctors. So either he needs to talk to his campaign or he needs to get his story straight.
Well, listen, guys, this has been real fun. Like I said, tonight it was smoking, literally.
It was. I thought it was we were kind of laid back tonight.
Smoking hot. I'm happy to be back. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I don't think we have a guest on deck. But I'll be working on getting us some guests the last few weeks of before the primary. But we want you all to have a safe, wonderful Friday evening. Hopefully I'll be able to sleep without coughing tonight. I've been coughing all day. But at any rate, we love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Lady T. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Love you all. Bye.